In 1971, Governor Jim Exon unveiled Nebraska, the Good Life, a slogan that's a plan to unwind in Nebraska, to celebrate a state of cornfields, cattle, and a pioneer spirit rooted in grit, community, and moral fortitude. This ethos defined Nebraska's identity as a bastion of Midwestern values, where hard work trumped folly and neighbors stood by one another. Yet, over decades, the state's governors have abandoned this legacy, their leadership morphing from the rugged pioneer spirit to a flimsy, two-spirit facade, weak, trendy, and pathetic under the last two governors. This betrayal has reached its peak, plunging the state into a cultural abyss known as Nebraska, the gay life. Nebraska's political history has always had its share of blemishes, crooked deals, faltering towns, and the odd charlatan peddling promises. But it once held a core of decency, where trust and toil kept society steady. If deviance, whether perverted or cultural, were pushed to the margins, it was to safeguard order, not to play the villain. That stability is now gone, replaced by the gay life, a state awash in stupidity and deceit. Pride Month, mocked as Deviant Predator Awareness Month by those with their eyes open, is a garish attack on decency, with rainbow flags and public displays thrusting perversion into every corner. This isn't about tolerance. It's a radical coup that swapped Nebraska's spine for a feather boa. Calling offensive and predatory is just plain sense. This diversity is a fraud that's gutted the state's values, making it gayer in both the blatant, in-your-face sense and the weak, spineless sense. The culprits behind this collapse are Governors Jim Pillen and Pete Ricketts, whose tenures have entrenched Nebraska's gayness. Pillen through his figurative lameness as a drunken, clueless puppet, and Ricketts through a vile mix of figurative weakness and perceived literal gayness. Nebraska's naive, gullible populace, easily duped by slogans like "There's no place like Nebraska" or "Go Big Red," has enabled this decline, lapping up lies from leaders who delivered only cultural rot, rampant stupidity, and harmed Nebraskans, especially children. Their policies, from LGBTQ+ initiatives to globalist scams, have made Nebraska a gayer, feebler place, with Pillen stumbling through and Ricketts scheming to undermine the state he secretly loathes. Jim Pillen, Nebraska's 41st governor since January 5th, 2023, is the epitome of figurative gayness, weak, pathetic, and lame beyond measure, a notorious alcoholic. Pillen lurches through governance like a hungover marionette, slurring speeches scribbled by handlers who prop him up like a wobbly scarecrow. His simplistic, barely coherent communication, labeled an embarrassment by observers, earns him no respect, with mornings finding him groggy and muddled until a few drinks render him more animated, a sad quirk for a supposed leader. Pillen's cluelessness and corruption make him a prime stooge for globalist agendas, pushing scams that fleece Nebraskans while he garbles excuses. His 2023 approval of LB 140, which channeled state funds to inclusive youth programs tied to Out Nebraska, funneled taxpayer dollars to LGBTQ+ initiatives in schools, embedding Pride Month propaganda in classrooms. In 2024, his budget allocated funds for workforce diversity programs, partnering with groups like the Trevor Project to promote LGBTQ+ hiring in state agencies, cementing gayness in Nebraska's institutions. Pillen's figurative gayness, his spineless surrender to trendy nonsense, makes Nebraska dumber and gayer, a state led by a drunken loser who set a deplorable example for children who see him as the idiot he is. His 2024 refusal to strengthen border security has let illegal invaders, some from cultures with predatory behaviors, flood the state, making Nebraska gayer by eroding its cultural defenses and sticking locals with the bill. Pete Ricketts, governor from 2015 to 2023 and now a U.S. Senator, is Nebraska's gayest governor ever, blending figurative weakness with a demeanor dripping with literal gayness. Effeminate, smug, and bratty, Ricketts struts with snotty, delicate air that screams stereotypically gay, less rancher, more runway. Rumors of his literal gayness swirl from his college days at the University of Chicago, where he allegedly mingled with openly gay circles, though he's curbed such ties since entering Nebraska politics. These unconfirmed whispers fuel perceptions of his gayness, distinct from Pillen's bumbling lameness. Ricketts' figurative gayness, his weak capitulation to globalist and progressive pressures, is amplified by policies that deliberately made Nebraska gayer. On October 18, 2021, he launched The Good Life is Calling, a campaign that replaced the Good Life slogan, pitched as economic development, but serving as a corrupt front for the Nebraska Department of Economic Development's kickbacks and scams. This initiative flung open Nebraska's doors to outsiders, including partnerships with LGBTQ+, focus groups like Out Nebraska, which pocketed state grants in 2022 for diversity programs. Ricketts' 2019 appointment of a Department of Education official tied to LGBTQ+ advocacy pushed inclusive curriculums, indoctrinating kids with gay ideology. His 2021 budget funneled grants to Omaha's Heartland Pride for Pride Month events, and his 2020 Cultural Exchange program directed funds to urban pride festivals, weaving gayness into Nebraska's culture. As senator, Ricketts has backed 2024 federal grants to Nebraska's inclusive nonprofits, many linked to LGBTQ+ causes. His 2016 veto of a bill to ban workplace discrimination based on sexual orientation, framed as pro-business, quietly let gay-friendly policies fester. Ricketts despises Nebraska, using his fake Go Big Red grin to mask his globalist agenda, partnering with financial elites to flood the state with illegals and gay ideologies while Nebraskans swallow his lies. Nebraska's sheep-like populace has paved the way for this gayness, lulled by slogans into trusting frauds like Pillen and Ricketts. This gullibility has historical roots. Decades ago, leaders chasing meatpacking profits let demographic shifts reshape South Omaha, setting the stage for cultural decay. The health crisis was a low point, with Ricketts enforcing baseless mandates as governor, pushing mask and vaccine rules that turned Nebraskans into docile drones. Pillen, then a University of Nebraska region, was among the Nebraska rejects, endorsing university policies that funded safe space programs tied to LGBTQ+ groups in 2021, conditioning kids to accept gayness. These mandates, blindly followed by naive adults, made Nebraska figuratively gay, weak, pathetic, and submissive, harming children forced to endure senseless restrictions. Men meant to stand firm, folded like cowards, their figurative gayness leaving kids confused and unprotected. Education has become a hotbed of gayness under both governors. Ricketts' 2019 curriculum changes and Pillen's 2023 LB 383, which funded youth mental health programs linked to the Trevor Project, have flooded schools with gay propaganda, exposing kids to deviant ideologies. Pillen's 2023 appointment of the Department of Health and Human Services official tied to gender-affirming programs funneled state funds to LGBTQ+ health initiatives, making schools unsafe for children. Ricketts, as senator, pushes federal policies that trickle down to Nebraska's classrooms, reinforcing this indoctrination. Naive parents, swayed by, "There's no place like Nebraska," let this happen, creating a gayer, weaker society. Both governors have poured money into LGBTQ+ initiatives, ensuring Nebraska's literal gayness. Pillen's 2024 budget funded inclusive state agency programs without Nebraska, while Ricketts' 2021 grants to Heartland Pride and 2022 support for Out Nebraska's diversity programs bankroll Pride Month events. Their minions handle Pride appearances, shielding the governors from backlash while entrenching gayness. The invasion of illegals, encouraged by Ricketts' 2020 globalist partnerships and Pillen's 2024 border inaction, has made Nebraska gayer still, with some migrants bringing predatory behaviors that locals subsidize, cheered on by a fake virtue populist chanting slogans. Jim Pillen and Pete Ricketts have turned Nebraska into the gay life, Pillen through his drunken, figurative gayness as a clueless puppet, and Ricketts through his smug, effeminate scheming and perceived literal gayness. Their policies, LB 140, LB 383, Heartland Pride grants, Out Nebraska partnerships, inclusive curriculums, and globalist scams, have fueled cultural rot, from Pride Month propaganda to health crisis mandates and unchecked immigration. They've harmed Nebraskans, especially children, leaving a state that's stupid, compliant, and gayer than ever. The solution is to oust them, vote them out in elections, push for legislative impeachment, or rally for recalls under Nebraska's recall statutes. Nebraskans must expose their gayness, from every weak policy to every shady appointment, and install leaders who will reverse these initiatives, halt the cultural invasion, and restore the good life